These are my 10 top tips for traveling to Vegas for the first time. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Anthony and I'm going to give you my top tips. Now, I'm from the UK and people travel from the UK to Vegas if they're celebrating a special birthday, if they're getting married or even divorce. They go for any special occasion. Now, I went 10 months ago to get married, and since then, 10 months later, I've been there 3 times. It's that addictive. In my humble opinion, it's the best place on earth. So, if you're traveling out there, I am so jealous and so excited for you. You're gonna have the best time ever. Now, to have the best time ever, I've put together 10 tips that I wish that I knew before I went for the first time. So here are my 10 top tips.
What can I say except you're welcome?
So my first tip is upgrades. If you want a good upgraded room in your hotel, the best thing to do is just book a basic room, because when you pay the full price on the website, you're just paying the full price. However, if you book the basic room and you get to the hotel lobby, get to the check-in desk, they've got more power to give you a much more better discount than anywhere else. So for example, me and my husband recently stayed at the Cosmpolitian, which in my opinion is the best hotel on the strip. I'd highly recommend it. When we got there, we originally had a basic room booked. We then upgraded to a wraparound suite because the room that we wanted, the Pacific room, wasn't available. They offered us the wraparound suite for just £400. If we'd booked through Thomas Cook, our travel provider, we would have paid in the thousands for this room. So that's how important it is to book a basic room first of all. Now, if you want a free upgrade, a really good tip is to email the upgrades team. You can find their email address just by Googling your hotel and then the upgrades team. If you email them and just let them know that you are celebrating a big birthday or you're there to get married, just let them know that your stay would be that much better if they could offer you some kind of complimentary upgrade. That is a really good way of getting a free upgrade. If you're a gambler, which if you're heading to Vegas you probably are, then this tip is going to be right up your street. So what you want to do is, it's called the sandwich trick. A lot of people that head out to Vegas are big fans of Vegas. They know this trick is quite infamous, so don't feel silly doing it and don't feel like that is cheeky, because the check-in clerks will know exactly what you're up to, and that is to wedge a $20 tip in between either your passport or your credit card ID, and you hand it over to them and you say, are there any complimentary upgrades available today? Hey, and that tip won't work in every hotel and every check-in desk, but it is Vegas. Are you willing to gamble £20 for a better room? It is Vegas, baby. So tipping isn't as big in the UK as it is in America. So before I went, I wasn't sure who I was meant to tip or how much. When you get there, it is much easier than when you're at home thinking about it. For example, when you go to restaurants, they always work it out at the bottom of the receipt how much percentage based on how good you thought the service was. If you are watching your money, then doing things like taking your own luggage to your room or grabbing your own drink at the bar, and also apps like Uber, they also give you the option to tip at the end based on service as well. So my next tip is all about money. So what I would do, or what I recommend to do, is think of how much money you're going to take to Vegas and then divide it by how many days that you're going. That's a really good tip if you're going to gamble, because you're not going to gamble all your money in one day or the first few hours of getting to Vegas. And also, if you're just carrying one day's lot of money around and you happen to lose your wallet, then it won't be as painful as losing a whole week's worth. Okay, so trying to find an ATM in Vegas is almost impossible. I know there's one inside the Wynn and there's also one by the M&M World, but the best thing to do is just draw out your American dollars before you come to Vegas, because then you're not going to be hit with some ATM charges, because they're quite expensive and also they're quite difficult to find as well. If you'd like to pay by card, just make sure you're carrying your ID with you, as a lot of places ask you to present your ID just to check that the photo matches the bank card. If you are traveling overseas like we did, check out cards like Revolut. I'm sure there's a couple of other companies, but Revolut for us was the best one to use. It's basically an app on your phone and they also send you a card. I think the card is only like £5, but it's well worth it because you can convert your pounds to dollars using the current stock market currency, so you get the best bargain for your buck. But also you can use that card then to pay for things like Uber, and then you're not cutting into your money from at home, you're just using your holiday funds. Next thing I'm going to talk about is footwear. Get yourself some sliders, flip-flops, trainers, sneakers, whatever you want to call them, some comfy footwear, because it is the desert and everything is just like one big mirage. Things look closer than they actually are, so you think to yourself, right, I'm going to go to that hotel now, I'll be there in 5 minutes. An hour later you're still walking there. Make sure you've got some comfy shoes on. My next tip is commuting. So if walking around isn't your thing in Vegas, no worries. Or if you want to get somewhere fast, then there's plenty of ways to commute in Vegas. One of them being is the monorail. There's a couple of monorail tracks. There's not one, unfortunately, that just goes to every hotel. Now that would be cool. But there's one, for example, that goes from the MGM right down to the Stratosphere. There is a bus service called the Deuce, and the Deuce will practically take you anywhere on the Vegas Strip. It even takes you down to downtown Fremont Street. I think it's 3 days, $22, and you can get on at any point on the Strip. There's one practically every 15 minutes. My favourite way to travel in Vegas is Uber. You don't need to download a certain version of Uber. One Uber app works anywhere, whether in the UK or America. We found the Uber app is so much cheaper than getting a taxi. The first time we went for our wedding, we spent so much on taxis because we didn't know if we could connect the Uber to our card at home. We were just a bit confused if we needed to download a certain version. But the last 2 times that we have gone and we've used it, we've saved so much money. So from the airport to Cosmo, the one time it cost us $40. The typical Uber price from the airport to Cosmo is $12, so you're saving a lot of money just using Uber. And if you do fancy using Uber, or Lyft is another service, they do hand out flyers on the boulevard, which can save you some money on your first ride. My next tip is just say no thank you. Although the guys that are giving out the Lyft and Uber coupons are really helpful, not everyone is looking to give you free things completely in Vegas. As the old saying goes, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. Watching free shows can probably lead to you being sold timeshares. If somebody hands you a CD or a bracelet, they can get quite aggressive if you don't give them any money. And also, if you want to have pictures with your favourite Disney character or a half-naked man or showgirl, then they're going to expect a tip at the end of the picture. Food. Let's talk about food. My favourite thing in Vegas is just the really naughty food. That's not for everybody, but if unhealthy food isn't your thing, that's fine. There's so much variety of food in Vegas. My 2 favourite places to eat are Hell's Kitchen and also the Sugarfactory.
We are at Sugarfactory Las Vegas, and this has become one of my, I feel like, second homes.
The buffets are world famous. If you are looking to save money in Vegas, if you go half hour before lunch starts, or go to breakfast and then lunch starts in half hour, or the same, go half hour before dinner starts at lunch, then you can save about $10 to $15. If you're in a group, you're going to save quite a lot of money. Now, I picked that tip up just from being on the Talk Las Vegas page on Facebook. That's a really good community to get different tips and stuff like that. Talking of buffets, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, the Wynn have a massive selection. And if you're not like me, where you want to watch your calories, personally, I don't think people have told these people, but calories don't exist in Vegas. But if you are watching your calories, then the Cheesecake Factory have a wide range menu called Skinnylicious, and they break down everything that's on their menu. Now, we've chatted about food, now let's speak about alcohol. So you can drink absolutely anywhere in Vegas. Just remember to bring your ID, as you do need to be 21 to drink in the United States. As it's hot in Vegas, you'll see frozen daiquiri bars or frozen cocktail bars absolutely everywhere. My personal favourite is Fat Tuesdays. My favourite is peach Bellini with 2 extra shots of peach schnapps, which comes to about $12. And also, if you're unsure which flavour you want to try, that's the good thing about Fat Tuesdays, is that you can actually try before you buy and sample different ones. Another cool bar is Tipsy Robot. You have a robot that creates your drink for you. and I've never seen anywhere that has anything like that, only Vegas. You can actually get free drinks if you're sat down gambling at a slot or a table. The waitress will come along, take your order, and then get your drink for you. You don't have to pay. All you need to do is tip the waitress. Depending if you tip her well or not, then she'll come back to you. And of course it is the desert, so just make sure that you drink a lot of water. My next tip is all about being money savvy. Yes, you can actually be savvy in Vegas with your money. Now, a really good tip is if your hotel room doesn't have a empty fridge, it just has a mini bar, just ring down to guest services and they'll bring one up for you at no extra cost. And then you can go to places like CVS or Walgreens, which are everywhere on the strip, and then you can grab water for like $1 opposed to the $15 bottled water that you'd have to pay through minibar. Even though shops are cheaper on the strip than they are to your hotel room, a really good tip that I discovered on the Talk Las Vegas page was to buy your alcohol in duty free before you board the flight to Las Vegas. So I normally get a champagne bottle for the room. The first 2 times that we went, I was at Walgreens and it was like $72. Now at duty free when we went last time, it was only like £30 odd. You get your alcohol for almost half price. My next tip is to plan your trip. So whenever I go to Vegas, I like to make a little itinerary. It's a bit sad, but it makes me even more excited. And what I do is break down what I want to do on each day, what food, what shops, what shows, things that I want to do, because that way you're going to get the most out of your holiday. You can even pop down your budget on there, how much you want to spend. If you're going to shopping centres the one day, you might want to keep more money for that day, and that works really well. I think that's a really good tip. Also, if you are going to see shows, my recommendation is the Michael Jackson One show in Mandalay Bay. We've seen it 3 times now each time we've gone, and even the last time I was still saying, wow, oh my god, wow, like it is amazing. It's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. And also Celine Dion, she sang on our wedding day. Who else can say that Celine Dion sang on their wedding day in Vegas? Hope you enjoyed my first video. I'm sorry if I've been a bit wooden. I'm sure if I keep doing this kind of thing, I'm gonna only get more natural and better on camera. But hey, tag me in your holiday pictures on Instagram. My link is @AuntGorgeous, and any Vegas updates brighten my day, so I can't wait to see them. See you soon, guys.